I've noticed that questions and remarks and such submissions have been kind of slowing down the past week or two. So.
Okay, yeah, we'll just make sure we mention all that stuff at the beginning from now on. Because that's when the viewer retention's so high.
It's right before they click unsubscribe.
Yeah, really. Yeah, we'll have to make sure to let everyone know to leave some goddamn questions on ask.fm because none of you shits listen till the end. By the way, that was my intro. How are you today, Scott?
Oh man. How are you? You don't seem okay.
Oh, I'm actually really happy. That was acting. That was my YouTube acting I'm putting on for the crowd. Hello, everyone. We actually don't have Nathaniel with us today because he is a good little boy. He's doing some studying like he should. I didn't tell him to do that because I was not a good influence in school.
Yeah, he's
people,
in the middle of
apparently.
finals.
I never studied. I mean, yeah. I mean, I was like a 3.7 GPA student, but I never studied for anything because no thanks. I hate studying. Studying blows. School blows. School just sucks. Like, let's be real. School
I don't
just
miss college
sucks.
at all.
Let's be real.
I really don't.
Yeah, like I kind of miss just seeing people, but that's more or less of the fact that I moved like in the last few months, not more or less the fact that I saw them all in college, but the fact that I moved. So I really miss absolutely nothing about college. There's one teacher that I would like to see every now and then because he's actually a cool guy, and I did like him a lot. But otherwise, nothing. Stopped. Never mind, Audacity picked back up. That's a good sign. So, very professional podcast for you guys today.
By the way, speaking of professionalism, if there is any like dog barking or crying in the background, it's because we have a puppy and it's like right behind me. I moved the computer out into the living room recently because, I was telling you and Nathaniel over Skype a little bit that I've basically been working overnight the past like week.
Yeah, you've been working your ass off. It sounded like
major crunch time right now. So, yeah. That's been fun, but yeah, I moved the computer from, it's normally in the bedroom, moved it out. So the acoustics in here are different too, I notice, but so.
I mean, over Skype, you sound fine, but Skype also just is very shitty sometimes. So I wouldn't notice this thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
And as you guys have already noticed, if you are listening or watching on YouTube, the visual layout has changed a little bit. I am trying to do whatever I can to streamline the editing process because we're actually uploading these to SoundCloud too. We have a lot, and I know, there's claps in the background.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. That was not me doing that at all.
If only we could clap at the same time, but okay. Yeah, no, go ahead.
But Skype lag. We could try. You want to try? Let's 3, 2, 1. Professionalism.
And that's exactly how many viewers we have.
Yeah. How many claps was that? Like 3? Yeah, that's how many viewers we have. So we're going to be uploading these to SoundCloud every week because we had a lot of people who pleaded and begged and threatened to cut off my balls if I didn't do it. So
wow.
Now you have an audio-only version of the podcast that probably uses less data.
We haven't followed up on Nathaniel Stalker in a long time, but he's not here, so we can't ask him. But yeah, people have been asking us to get onto iTunes and stuff as well. So I guess people do that.
Oh,
stuff.
You said stalker. I was like, what did you say? My brain didn't recognize that. He has a stalker?
Yeah. Well, he did at one point. Remember, he told us that one night about he got a phone call from someone random.
Oh yeah.
And like he I
shouldn't be laughing about this.
I don't remember what he picked up the phone and they said something like I'm your biggest fan or something, and it was all creepy, and they called him like 30 times or something. I don't remember the whole story, but yeah, like, and then we told everyone listening, I think we talked about this on a previous podcast, but we told everyone listening, don't do that. That is horrible to do.
Just on the phone, they're like,
yeah, heavy breathing. I bet there was.
Take your shirt off. Your next top 10.
I'm your biggest fan.
We fit top 10 again. We fit. This has been a great start. Oh yeah, we need to mention this though, for sure at the beginning of every podcast. Like I angrily yelled at you earlier. We are accepting our questions on ask.fm/digicades. It's just the easiest way to funnel any of the viewers' questions or listeners' questions into one place. So please, if you have anything that you're interested in knowing about us, because we're just so interesting, Scott. We are just so interesting that they need to know our opinions in our life.
Yeah, yeah. No, in addition to questions as well, what I've also kind of been doing is I've been reaching out on Twitter and asking people questions about their opinions, because if they don't want to hear our opinions, they can at least hear theirs echoed through our voices. So I've
Yeah.
basically started posting questions on Twitter. This week, I sent out a request to ask people to give us some other kart racers besides just Diddy Kong Racing and Mario Kart, because I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. So I might start doing a little bit of that here and there, reaching out on Twitter.
It's a cool
By the
idea.
way, yeah, and you can follow me on Twitter at Scott Lee. And of course, Indy Jacob for Jacob. But yeah, I'm probably going to start doing that just to add some variety. But yeah, if you guys want to ask questions or submit any topic ideas that you want us to cover or talk about, or any important news you think is going on, definitely reach out and talk to us there. I always get people like on the comments on YouTube and on Twitter and stuff, always like asking like, what, why can't I just ask it here? And dude, honestly, it's because like we can't keep track of like 15 different sources,
Yeah,
and we can't
that's really what it comes down to.
yeah, we need everything in one place, because by the time we record, we only record once per week, so we can't be like backtracking 30 comments or whatever.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's like I have so many. I really do not mean to sound cocky or anything like this here. I have a ton of likes and retweets and people messaging me and whatnot on Twitter. So it's like I really don't want to scroll through all that just to find your question, because I want to be able to have that on the show here. But so yeah, if you have that, you can always ask it, anonymously. You don't have to have an account with Ask.fm. That's just the easiest way to funnel the questions.
That's
That's
right.
really all it is. But otherwise, we got a pretty good show today. Got some good stuff. Got some good Switch stuff this week. Actually, we had a lot of a lot of good Switch news. So we definitely want to talk about that. We're gonna talk about some Final Fantasy. Scott wanted to talk about some Last Guardian, so we will do that too. What do you want to talk about first, Scott? I'll let you
Yeah.
roll the ball down the hill with the snow and into the people,
So
wherever
yeah,
that came from.
we can start with the obvious, which is Nintendo's about to explode. We're finally at that point now. It's the end of 2016. There was the Jimmy Fallon appearance with Reggie Fils-Aimé, Shigeru Miyamoto. They came on to the Tonight Show, or what's it called, the Late Show? I think it's the Late Show. Anyway, they came on
The Tonight
to
Show, Jimmy Fallon,
yeah,
actually.
yeah, with Jimmy Fallon, and they showed off Super Mario Run and the Switch, and for the first time, we got to see Zelda Breath of the Wild actually working on the Switch. It was a live demo, and that's the first time we've seen that. With the Switch reveal trailer, it was all just superimposed, like After Effects work, basically, or whatever you would call it. But it was not real footage of the console, whatever you were seeing on the screen of the console. So this is the first time we've actually seen a live demo of actual gameplay. So that was pretty cool to see, and I also like that this really demonstrated, if you go watch it, there's a clear marketing direction with Nintendo right now that is just laser focused. Like they're super just focused on talking about how that unique selling point of like everything is in that handheld unit where you detach it from the base and then you just take it with you anywhere. And they're just sticking to that one single thing, and they're not letting anything get mixed up. Yeah, you can detach the controllers on the side, and yeah, you can do multiplayer. Yeah, there probably is a touchscreen that they haven't talked about yet, but they're not talking about any of that right now. They don't want any of that to muddle up the message, which is that this is what the Switch is about. It's about home console gaming that you take anywhere. And I'm so happy that like that they're that focused on that.
Yeah, it was nice because they did, a lot of people forgot this, but they did the same thing with the Wii U. Like they went on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, showed off the Wii U, but it was a lot more confusing. Like just like the reveal trailer for the Wii U initially, it was a lot more confusing, and there was room for gray area. With the Switch, it is just like you said in the Skype chat, just laser focused. Like there is no confusion. Like people know exactly what this thing does. You take it off, It seamlessly introduces you to handheld gaming. You put it back on, and it seamlessly introduces you to console gaming. There is no gray area. There's no in between. You just pop the little shit off, play it, put the shit back on, play it again, and that's it. That's the Switch. So it is very just a clear marketing image, and there's nothing I have to complain about so far, which is good.
Right.
I don't like complaining. I don't want to complain. So this is good.
It's surprising too. And for Super Mario Run, I was also kind of impressed with that, and I am actually a little bit hyped for that game now, which is really weird because I'm never hyped for endless runner games. I don't like endless runner games, but I watch people play this. I've seen a little bit of footage that people have posted on YouTube where they're playing it in the Apple Store, because the Apple Store prior to release has a demo going on that you can play in store.
Yeah.
I've seen people playing that, and I kind of like what I see. This honestly looks like one of the best mobile endless runners that, admittedly, in terms of the graphical assets, they're clearly, just blatantly reusing all these 2D assets. But even though they're doing that, I'm not really bothered by that. I'm actually looking at it and just seeing the gameplay, and I like what I see.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing at all, but there is one. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this now because this has been bothering me ever since I heard about it. There's one thing about this game that I'm like, God, oh, damn it, Nintendo. This game requires an online connection constantly, and I understand why. Before any fanboy lashes out at me and they're like, Jacob, why are you disagreeing with this? No, I get why it's there. I understand, the whole DRM thing, preventing piracy. I get that. It probably does make the game run a little smoother, having the whole thing constantly refreshing, connecting online. I get that, but I think of everyone who commutes on a subway or maybe hitches a ride with someone in the car and wants to just play this, and they can't without using their data. Or if you're on the subway, you probably don't have a stable data connection down there. Or I just think of the people all the time who don't want to or don't want to be hooked up to Wi-Fi while they're playing this and just want to play it on their phone. I mean, honestly, I don't actually know if I'm going to get this now, because I was like you. When I was looking at it, I'm like, this game looks fun. I legitimately want to play this game, and I don't mind to pay $10 for it, because with the feature set in it, it actually looks like it's worth $10.
Right.
And unfortunately now, I actually don't know if I'm going to get it, because I really don't want to worry about that. And the only time I'm going to play this game is probably whenever I'm in a spot where I have no Wi-Fi connection, or I would rather play a more, I guess a more gamey game. That was a horrible way of saying that, but I want to play a more in-depth game than just Super Mario Run when I'm chilling at my house. I'd rather pop in Darksiders or something.
Right. Are you just concerned about the usage of data, on a limited plan or something like that? Or are you concerned about maybe lag or slowdown or?
Yeah, pretty much all of that. There's a ton of people. I mean, I definitely have firsthand with this since I work at a Verizon. There's a ton of people who have limited data packages, and with that, you have to, you're going to use a ton of data probably playing Super Mario Run if you don't have Wi-Fi. But I'm also worried about people who just can't connect because they may be in a bad area, or they may be underground, like I said before, riding a subway, or, if they're going to play this thing at home, they probably would rather just play something else, so people might just not get their money's worth out of it. Or I'm also worried about it not being stable. Constantly having to be online, you have to worry about stability and, like you said, lag, and that, it just creates problems that I don't want it to create, because this looks like one of the best smartphone games I've ever seen, and I would absolutely love to play this, and I really don't know now if I'm going to give them $10 for that. If it was free, I wouldn't bitch at all. It's free, fine, whatever. You do whatever you want, Nintendo, but it's not free, so...
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to give them the $10. After seeing the gameplay, I actually have...
You fanboy!
I have some trust in it at this point. And for the constantly having to have online, number one, I have an unlimited data plan, so I don't care about that myself personally. It's probably not a very good data plan all the time.
I have an unlimited data plan.
I do, with Sprint, Jacob. Anyway,
did you get grandfathered in that? Because we have unlimited data, just like Sprint. It gets slower down to 2G after you run out of it.
No, actually, I have a pretty good connection most of the time. Anyway.
Have you? No. What I was saying is like you go through your initial data that you pay for, and then it gets slowed down for unlimited data. Like it gets throttled down. Like Sprint does the same thing, but you may be on a plan where you're like grandfathered in, and you actually have like good unlimited data.
I mean, it's a current plan. Like it's not grandfathered or anything. I think with Sprint and T-Mobile, they have like current unlimited plans that you can buy. Although those are smaller networks. Like part of the reason you pay for companies like Verizon and you will generally pay them a higher price is because they have a much higher, broader, higher speed network. But anyway, the thing
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I'm not gonna dodge anyone who has Sprint. I don't really give a shit. If you want Sprint, cool, go to Sprint.
The thing I was trying to get to is that,
and yeah, anyway,
I think how they're going to use online is they're going to send like scores or maybe like user data and stuff like that. I don't think it's the sort of thing where like you have to like stream in the game's data. I'm sure that you're going to download the game, you're going to install it, all the assets are going to be on the phone. I think that if it required you to like stream in levels or something stupid like that, where you're just going to use a ton of bandwidth, then it would be much more of a problem. But
oh yeah,
I'm guessing that that's not what they're doing. Yeah,
I didn't mean that. I just don't want the game to crash the second you disconnect from the internet. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I think that if I can withstand Pokemon Go, which I have been for quite some time, that I'll be able to handle Super Mario Run. And I'm guessing that Super Mario Run will be much more polished than Pokemon Go just because it's Nintendo and not Niantic. So I'm guessing that they have a little bit of a higher quality standard. That being said, this game does look like it was rushed. It looks fun, but it does look like it was rushed just on the basis and the grounds of the fact that it's most of it is super simple and it's got all those reused assets.
So I'm eating a fruity candy cane right now, and part of my candy cane fell on the floor, and I put it in my mouth to eat it, and I absolutely got some carpet and some hair in my mouth. That's disgusting.
See, that's why we need video on this podcast. Eventually, we're gonna have to start streaming webcams and stuff, so that we can see you choke on carpet, and
I got in the throat.
See Nathaniel Bandy, like picking his nose and stuff. We need video
God.
on the.
It definitely went in the throat.
So are you eating like one of those like Starburst candy canes?
It's actually a pixie stick candy cane.
I really want. Oh wow, pixie stick!
It's amazing, dude. It's got got a nice fruity flavor on the outside, but then on the inside, it's got powder. So it's pretty high technology for a candy cane. It's 2016. We've come this far.
Yeah, that's like next level.
Oh, that's good shit. Well, I mean, otherwise, Super Mario Run, I'm going to talk with this candy cane in my mouth.
Okay.
Otherwise, Super Mario Run looks like a fantastic experience. And I got no problem with it. But as I can definitely hear Nintendo picking the phone up to call me as I'm talking like this, because they're just amazed by my professionalism.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm sure they're calling to sponsor us right now.
Probably. I'm probably going to get a free copy of Super Mario Run. Oh, well, I'm at it.
You're gonna get that review copy.
Yeah, and I'll be the only person that has it for Android. By the way.
Yeah.
Actually, I do really want one. I really want a copy to put in the store, because I know a ton of people are going to come in and act like crack addicts because they want to play that game.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna have to see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see if I can get a couple copies of that for the store. I'll have to hound my owner about that. The nice thing is actually the unnice thing about this scenario is we're a locally owned one, so we're not actually like a Verizon corporate store, so we're a lot more lax and laid back and honest with people.
You're going to ask the owner for that so that you can play the game. Really, is the actual reason you're going to do that, right?
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Especially right now because I have an Android phone, so Nintendo hates me. I feel very offended and left out and sad.
They don't hate you. It's just that they love Apple more.
When they love money. That's what it comes down. They love money.
Yeah, like any good corporation, they love money. It's true.
Yeah, I don't blame them at all. They want money. Well, anyway, that's Super Mario Run. Unless you have more to say about it, I had nothing else to say about it. It looks fun. Kind of sucks about the online connection, but I mean, some people will give a shit. Some people won't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm
As you're
one
seeing
who,
right
who
now.
doesn't care. Yep, yep, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, some people who are privileged and have unlimited data packages, like Scott, are not going to give a shit. And some people who are penny pinchers and barely scraping by, and I'm eating a pixie stick candy cane right now for my dinner, and I can't afford unlimited data. So yeah.
Yeah, but people who are barely scraping by shouldn't even be like using an iPhone anyway. They should be using a
No,
less expensive phone.
no, they should be using like a track phone or something like that. It's poor
Uh,
people. Those poor. I actually no, I wouldn't subject anyone to that. No, you come to my store, I'll set you up. We got you.
there's good smartphones for people making less money.
Oh yeah, there's a
I've
lot.
been thinking about this recently actually, and this is a weird topic to think about, but uh, like because you always hear people like talking about financial advice, like whenever you're super poor, they say like, well, you shouldn't have a cell phone if like you don't have a job and all that, and I disagree with that for a couple of
Well, you
reasons.
shouldn't have food
I
because
even
food costs money and you're poor.
Yeah, exactly. I disagree with the cell phone period part because number one, you need to receive phone calls, like period. So you got to have a way for potential employers to contact you so that you can get work. Number two, I even think there's a reason to have a smartphone, and part of that has to do with the fact that it is now possible to do some amazing things with smartphones and smartphones that are not even that expensive, as long as you're willing to take the time to learn. For example, you can write code on your phone, which I've been tinkering around with recently. And so I think that if you can write code on your phone, there's a reason for even poor people to have a phone because number one, you need the employers to call you. And number two, that's a very valuable skill to have. So
And actually, you can effectively replace a computer or a laptop with a smartphone or a tablet now. So
potentially, yeah, depending on how you use those things, that's true.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I know a ton of people who just do everything on a tablet and a smartphone because they don't need anything with that high of computing power, that much processing power to do video editing, for instance. The literal only reason I have a laptop is to do video editing in Photoshop
Right.
and Illustrator. Otherwise, screw that noise. I'm just going to use a tablet with a keyboard because that's what I only ever do. I only do like email, surf the internet, watch YouTube, all that stuff, like, unless I'm doing video editing and graphic design. Well,
We can talk about this Pokemon Go collaboration with Starbucks real quick. It's
oh
worth
yeah,
mentioning, I think.
I don't have much to say because I'm not exactly a Pokemon goer,
But do
but
you go to Starbucks?
no.
Apparently what they have done, they've partnered with Starbucks. There's like over 7,000 Starbucks locations that are now Pokestops,
Oh, this is genius,
and
dude.
it
This
is
is
total
genius.
genius. And it was happening anyway, right? Like people are out and about. They're probably going to Starbucks more often whenever they're playing the game anyway. You might as well capitalize on that a little bit more. But they're also pairing that with a special like Pokemon Go Frappuccino. So next time you walk into Starbucks,
What?
as of right now, you should walk up to the what do you call it? The cashier, the barista, however you say it. Walk up to them and ask for the availability of a Pokemon Go Frappuccino, which is I looked at a picture of it, like it's in the game. You can see what it looks like. It's like this like purple pink looking thing. It's probably just pure sugar and it's diabetes in a cup, but I bet it's delicious.
They better have Pikachu tea. That better be a thing.
Pikachu. Yeah.
I'm gonna be.
That's
I
a
don't
good
even
idea.
like chai tea.
You
But-
should work for
But
Starbucks
that
and
needs to be
Nintendo.
Yeah, or they
Yeah.
need to do a Zelda collaboration and make Choo Choo tea.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make that
Yeah.
happen.
By the way, we just real quick, we mentioned all these different corporations lately. Why are we not getting paid by any of them?
With
We have,
my
like,
pixie
debates
stick
about,
filled
like,
candy cane, I'm gonna drink my
Pizza,
Starbucks
yeah,
refresher
Pixie
with made
Stick,
from green tea
Starbucks.
extract.
Like we mentioned all these companies, man. It's horrible. We don't get paid
Yeah.
for any of this.
I know it's
Wow.
bullshit.
Can you hear that car horn?
Oh, I can hear that car horn,
Oh my gosh.
and our listeners can all hear that car horn too.
Yeah.
Hey, professionalism, everyone. We're
Sorry
professional.
guys, I live in an apartment that's pretty much right near the middle of Houston, and so we got all kinds of crazy stuff happening around here all the time.
I'm fighting a roach right now for my candy cane.
Oh wow, that is not fun.
Ew, that'd be so gross if that was real.
Yeah, try living in Texas, by the way.
No, I'm good.
If you think roaches are bad in Pennsylvania,
I actually have not seen a single roach since I moved from Indiana to Pennsylvania.
I bet you haven't, just because it's that far north. And
I see
there's
a
probably
shit
lot less
ton
of
more
them.
stink bugs, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Those little shits are awful. They're annoying, and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Then I vacuumed my my room the other day, and it's pretty decent sized room here, and there had to at least be 25 stink bugs that I found. Like I looked in like every crevice, like every corner, under things that like I easily vacuumed up 25 stink bugs.
That is awful. My apartment is infested with Pokemon right now, and I've thought about busting out like a fully automatic machine gun or something and just taking them out, but people have told me that would be Pokemon cruelty, so I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking about it all the time.
Well,
there's a lot though.
After you work up a sweat, killing off those Pokemon, you can lay back in your chair and drink your Pika Chai tea.
Yes. Indeed.
Plug. Anyway,
delicious.
Yeah, so that's cool. I mean, that is marketing genius. Nintendo is definitely getting smarter about their marketing, which, thank you. That makes me think of back in the 90s whenever they partnered with, you remember how they partnered with BK to make all those like gold Pokemon cards, and you actually got those Pokeballs like with every, I guess, kids meal or whatever it was. Like smart idea.
Yeah,
more stuff like that. I mean, I know they do that every now and then with McDonald's, but it's like cheapy shit. I don't want that.
And don't forget,
I want gold. I want
this
gold.
past week they also were talking about their partnership with Universal Studios to do theme park stuff.
Yeah, they're being so smart. Like they're getting their brand back out there again and like into people's lives. That's so awesome.
And for those listening, you know that Jacob has been a pretty big skeptic of Nintendo and their direction for a while now. You told me recently, Jacob, that this is the most confident you've been with Nintendo in a long time after that Jimmy Fallon appearance and just kind of the general direction of marketing lately.
Oh, definitely. Like their entire marketing strategy is so intelligent now. I have full faith in Nintendo with the Switch and with smartphone gaming. They are on the right track to actually get into the public eye again. I have nothing bad to say. The only thing bad I had to say about Nintendo this week is the whole Super Mario Run being online all the time. And really, in retrospect, that's not even like that big of a complaint. It's more or less just a mild concern of mine.
Right.
So,
and they can probably fix that if it's really that big of a deal. Like I don't.
Yeah, that can be fixed with an update probably.
Yeah, exactly.
But since we're talking about good Nintendo stuff, there is something really cool here that I definitely want to talk about. And as far as I know, this is the first official Nintendo Switch exclusive that's been revealed that's not from Nintendo. It's called Seasons of Heaven. And Scott, I know you hadn't actually heard of this until I mentioned it right before we started recording.
Right.
It looks like a really cool open world exploration game that looks really story based and adventure based, and it doesn't look like every other open world game. It looks like it looks very intriguing, and there's not a ton of combat as far as I'm aware. Like it looks very much exploration and adventure and story based. So
you know what
I'm excited about it.
Genuinely reminded whenever I looked up Seasons of Heaven, and there's an image going around that's the kind of the first PR of the game. It's beautiful Unreal Engine 4 graphics. And
that's right. It's Unreal Engine 4.
It's got really nice, it's got really nice lighting, and there's like the really nice like light shining through trees and all this stuff, like volumetric type stuff. But there's a character,
beautiful.
of like this like it's like a boy with a backpack, and honestly, it reminded me of Earthbound. Whenever I saw that image, I was like,
yes,
if they were to do like a latest gen Earthbound,
I couldn't even think of what this reminded me of, but yes, that's it.
It really kind of did, yeah. Although it isn't, I just want to specify that for everyone listening. You can go and look up some of the storyline. It's based around like a French novel or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't I've not really heard of whatever the book is that it's based on, but graphically though it looks just gorgeous with those UE4 graphics. There's another game alongside this one, by the way, that I saw called The Sacred Hero. It looks like more of an indie title, and it was announced for 2018 or something like that. But it's interesting now that we're moving into right around the very very tail end of this year now, and we have the Switch on the horizon. We're starting to see all these third parties come out and start announcing stuff, and it's going to start rolling in a lot faster. I'm betting that January, February, it's going to get really, really crazy.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear more about this. We really don't know much about it other than the fact that it is just going to be some type of exploration adventure game. It was rumored to be announced, but then it officially did get announced. Like the gaming company came out or the development team came out and said, yes, this is our game. It's coming to the Switch. It's exclusive. Here you go. There's only a couple pieces of promotional artwork going around. There's a couple off, like I guess off screen shots of it. So it looks good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited to see where this goes. I hope this is kind of more of a smaller scale game and not something that's too giant and open. I kind of want something that's a little like something that's not exactly quick to play through, but something that's a nice, fun, mildly short adventure that has a lot of meaning, and that's what this looks like. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Again,
I'm not. Oh, actually, I did find a little press release here of it. It says it will have you on the edge of your seat as you question everything you thought you knew about humanity and begin to realize that the possibility of things existing that can't be seen with our eyes only but felt with our hearts and souls really do exist. That sounds like Stranger Things. And I might need to push my boner down a little bit. I haven't read that yet. That looks good.
I wanted to read from this GameSpot article too here for Seasons of Heaven. It says Seasons of Heaven is a 2018 Switch exclusive adventure game based on a French novel of the same name about Yan, a young boy with Asperger's syndrome, and his French bulldog Annie. Both characters are playable, and according to a Google translated article from French game blog Gameblog, the title is currently running on Unreal Engine 4. Yeah.
Oh, he has Asperger's, you said?
Yeah, so the main character of the game has Asperger's, I guess. But
It's an SJW game. Well, maybe I don't want it now.
We'll see. We'll see. But I mean, just looking at this screenshot, it's just so beautiful looking.
And for everyone who thought I was serious, no, it looks good. I was kidding.
It looks really gorgeous. I don't know about the gameplay, but the screenshot that there's a couple of different screenshots that are out there floating around for this right now, and the few that I've seen just look really, really nice.
Yeah, I'm another game that I'm excited for. It hasn't sold me on the Switch yet. I have my limits. We all know this, but it looks good, so I'm excited.
Right. I also just want to say about graphics real quick. People are going to just I know that people have been saying it for a long time, but I agree with the overall direction. Graphics are just going to be gorgeous everywhere pretty soon. I mean, they're already pretty gorgeous anyway, but we're starting to approach that point now where everything we play looks like what fully rendered cutscenes used to look like. And
oh my god, Final
approaching
Fantasy
that-
15. Final Fantasy
Yeah.
15 is beautiful.
Exactly.
Oh, it looks so good.
And so we're just not going to care about that stuff pretty soon. It's going to start to become less of a draw, and in my opinion, that's a good thing, because I think we're about to start moving into another few years of gaming where it's going to start to really, really be about gameplay again, just because everything is going to be gorgeous and people are going to be like, yeah. On the downside, though, they're going to take for granted that everything looks so gorgeous.
Yeah.
and then
Actually,
when something
I did have I had a guy in store the other day, and I was talking to him. Like, I loaded a few games up on a tablet for his daughter to play, like when I was setting up his phone, and I think I set up like Crossy Road for his kid to play, and then I was telling her like, oh, it's like Frogger and something like this, like not even thinking about the fact she might not know what Frogger was, but she knew what Frogger was, and that made me so happy because she was like 5 years old, and then like me and her dad just started talking about like all these old arcade games and how he used to love playing Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and Asteroids, and Asteroids is apparently like this little girl's favorite game, and I'm like, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that she
it's
can
good.
appreciate the old stuff and not really care about what it looks like, and just that's awesome. That just made me so happy the other day. You said you had something to say about The Last Guardian though?
Yeah, I just wanted to. So I watched like an hour of gameplay from The Last Guardian. Um, I
That game
think
that
that was
finally released.
that game that finally released, and I know that there have been some complaints about it. Like there's some frame rate issues sometimes whenever you're playing it. I think on like the regular PS4 as a not PS4 Pro, and I mentioned over Skype, I think during the week, that they were encountering some of that, and it's probably because of what they are acclaiming this game does, which I kind of believe it, which is they really kind of raised the bar with the artificial intelligence in this game, because this animal that you work with throughout the entire game, or this creature, whatever you want to call it, this thing really does feel like a genuine, just like it really does feel like a dog or a cat or something. Like the way that it behaves, the way that it follows you, the way that it interacts with different things that you do.
Like an
Um,
actual second player.
it not like a second player. Like it's like a second player if a second player was a puppy. Like it's really really
Oh
amazing
god, I
to
want a puppy that plays games with me.
yeah, exactly. It's really amazing to watch. And I don't want to spoil it if you're wanting to just play it for yourself. But from what I understand, though, instead of pre-scripting animate, well, they obviously the animations are going to be pre-built, right? But instead of pre-scripting how those animations play out, or how the series of actions occurs in the environment, what they do instead is they've programmed the AI to just interact with you dynamically, and to even in a lot of cases be navigating through the environment. So as this animal is like following around this character, this kid that you play as, it's dynamically making a lot of its decisions about should it follow you, should it look in a certain place, should it retreat, should it kind of navigates through the environment in a way that is just not. It's not like you feel like you're watching a cinematic moment a lot of the time, but then you read up on how they develop this game, and it's not cinematic. And I want people to appreciate that. I want people to appreciate the fact that this really is, if everything they're claiming about this game is true, this is a pretty substantial technical achievement in games. The fact that they have created this thing that you're able to so easily draw emotional connections to. And I don't know how the game ends, but if it wouldn't surprise me if they kill off either this creature that you work with or the main character. Either one is probably going to make whoever's playing it cry, because like you feel like you're raising a pet like throughout the entire game, and it's crazy. So
That would go in line with what this. I can't remember the name of the development company, but it would definitely fall in line with what they've made in the past. Because I'll be honest, I played Shadow of the Colossus and Ico. Both those games are very emotionally taxing. Playing Shadow of the Colossus like hits you hard whenever you're finishing that game. I'm not going to spoil it in case anyone's never played it, but damn, manly tears poured out of my eyes.
And that's amazing to me. You have to remind yourself when you're when you're in that experience, you have to remind yourself that this really is just something they programmed to behave in a certain way. It's just kind of remarkable to me to think about.
Yeah. One, I don't want to I don't really want to talk too long about this next quick little thing. I just have to mention the sheer ridiculousness of this rumor that I just read about, in regards to Final Fantasy. And then we'll go to questions because we're going about 40-something minutes here. I just want to mention this. So, according to the most reliable of sources, VG Leaks, by the way, apparently they've been hit and miss in the past. I'm guessing more miss than hit, but whatever. This is obviously not a real thing. I mean, well, I hope it's not because this is insane. So, next year, apparently the first part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to come out, even though Final Fantasy 15 just came out. But that's not all, folks. We're also going to be getting a Final Fantasy 13 trilogy re-release. Then we're going to be getting the Final Fantasy 12 re-release. But that's again, that is not all. We're also going to be getting a collection of Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 all in one package on the PS4 and the Vita. No, that's not gonna happen.
It's a lot of Final Fantasy.
Like, and if for some dumb ass reason that happens, like Square, no.
Yeah, that's laying it on thick with, it's like that really gives new meaning to the word final in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, again, it's no. God,
because it's Final Fantasy again and again and again, and wow, I mean that's a lot.
Like out of these, the only reasonable one I can think of is going to be the Final Fantasy VII Remake. But like if any of these other ones happen, I'll just be like, what the hell? Just stop. Yeah. Oh, I hear it. I hear the dog. You should bring him right to the mic so he can like lick it.
No, that's a bad idea.
Oh, okay.
He'll chew on the cables because he's going through the puppy phase where he chews on everything. Like, so you got to make sure that something appropriate is in front of his face that he can actually chew on.
But I got a little something appropriate I'll put in front of his face. And now we'll go to questions.
Okay.
So we got some good questions this week. We'll try to go ahead and actually answer all these and actually get caught up on questions. We've been behind on those past few weeks. So I'll just get right into it. If you could have one amiibo line for any franchise or game, what would it be? Also, I'm not related to the Gerber baby food at all, but thanks for answering my question. It was a good time. I don't remember this guy's name.
I don't remember his first name. I remember the last name. Yeah.
Well, anyway, what would your answer be?
One amiibo line for any franchise or game. I would want maybe. Oh man, it's a tough one. If you have an answer, you can go first. I got to think about this one.
If it doesn't have to be Nintendo, then I would say the rest of the Shovel Knight characters. I want a Black Knight. I want to have the little hoop boy that tries to roll the hoop in the village. I want to have the Enchantress, and then I want to have the Trapple King because he's adorable. I like to have his big floppy face on my shelf.
Yeah. I think if I were to add one on, I would do the other Earthbound characters. Like
that's also what I was thinking.
Yeah, Jeff and Pooh and stuff. I would totally do that.
Or Gigas, or Gigas, Gygas, however you say it. I don't know.
Gygas.
I've always heard both, so I'm like whatever. I would like to see an actual like a 3D rendition of Gygas, but I don't know if that'll ever happen.
How would that be done exactly?
I don't know because like he's just fear and terror.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure how you would do that, but I'd like to see them try. It'd be. Oh, what if they just did like they just do like a 2-dimensional like card as the amiibo, and it's like a hologram that like animates whenever you.
Yeah, like a Game & Watch one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool. And then they have like a little sound bite that you can click on and off during it. That just says like, "I eat your dreams," or just something like that. Or I like Papa John's Pizza.
Oh no. Oh no.
Nathaniel's not here, so we can bag on Papa John's all we want.
Yeah,
Overcooked.
speaking of which,
Spongy.
I went onto his live stream like the other day, and I came in at the end and started like a pizza war in his chat room. It was awesome.
Oh God. I like to go in there and mess around every now and then too when I'm in the chat. I haven't done that for a while though. It's been a long time since I've been in one of his live streams.
Yeah, we need to go in and like ambush
Just wreak
Nathaniel's
havoc.
live stream. Yeah, we need to do it together. Like
Yeah.
one of these days. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Thomas the Dank Engine says, "What do you think about kids playing rated M games? I'm 15 and my mom doesn't let me play a single rated M game. Do you agree with this?" Yes and no.
Yeah.
Honestly, most rated M games are purely rated at for some mild violence and some language. It's all crap that you're gonna hear. Actually, no, it's all shit that you're gonna hear because you listen to this shitty podcast. And then you probably hear it at school anyway. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying like, that's right. But I mean, honestly, most rated M games really are not that bad. It's just they most of them they kind of have to put it there.
Right.
But I mean, if you're like 15, I would say if you're out of middle school, yeah, if you were my kid, I wouldn't care. I'll just be honest. I mean, depending. Like, I know the games like I wouldn't let you play Grand Theft Auto until you're like 17 or 18 because there's some shit that happens in there. Okay, you can punch hookers, like, okay. But then if you wanted to play like Darksiders, I mean, whatever, I wouldn't care. There's just blood on that. You've seen blood. You bleed.
It's tough for me to say. Like,
Oh, Scott, let me ask you real quick. Do you bleed?
Oh.
You will if you don't like PV. I can't even make a joke about that.
Anyway.
Okay.
Oh man, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, it's difficult for me to answer, right? Because number one, I grew up with rated R movies, M-rated games, lots of like violence, sex on screen. I mean, like I had it all growing up, and I did, and I'm alive. I'm here. I'm a productive adult. I was not traumatized by it. I was not negatively influenced. Could some people be? I don't know. One thing I have pretty strong confidence in is that the field of psychology or the science behind it has never found a strong association between psychological problems and the kind of media that people are consuming. This is just, it kind of goes back to, I mean, this has been going on for all of history where like back in the day, they wanted to ban certain kinds of books because that's just printed words, right? Like so
violent books, violent movies, violent games.
That's right. Yeah,
always
and
existed.
It'll just keep going. And the next thing that it's going to be is virtual reality. Because, I mean, even back in the 90s, like when first-person shooters arrived and stuff, and Doom was super big, and that was going on, people were talking about, oh, well, now everything's getting 3D, and that's got to have more of an impact than
people were flipping out
before.
about Doom and Mortal Kombat and Quake and all that.
Exactly, and the next thing that's coming
yeah.
is totally going to be VR. That's the next target. That's the next thing that legislators and parents are going to be talking about. All that being said, though, like even though that may be kind of what I think about it, and I think that as long as like as a parent, if you're talking with your kids and you educate them on what kind of media they're consuming and what they see on screen or what they're reading or whatever it is, I think that you can always have productive, healthy kids regardless of whatever media it is they're interacting with, right? Like I think that's definitely a thing.
For me, it's more like I would rather if you want to play something like Call of Duty, fine, whatever. That's pants compared to something like The Last of Us. Because I don't think a 15-year-old, personally, I don't believe a 15-year-old is emotionally or psychologically ready to embrace that and understand that type of story. So in that regard, I probably wouldn't let you do that. But yeah, if you want to play like Call of Duty or Dark Side or something like that, that's just heavy action. There's some blood. There's going to be a little swearing. I mean, whatever. That's like 90% of movies that come out nowadays. Like, the
Yeah.
only reason a lot of superhero movies are not rated R is because you don't see blood squirting out of a human body. So yeah.
And it goes back to, I think the parents do have like the decision, right? Like I think that that like if your parents are saying that and you're below the legal age, I think they do have a justifiable right to say like what you can and can't do when you're the minor. I agree with that, especially as a
Yes,
especially,
don't use me as leverage for you to play rated M games.
I mean,
Don't show them this podcast as a reasonable reason to play them.
exactly. And I'm saying this as a 28-year-old too, who like maybe in my early 20s my answer would have been a little bit different, but like now I am of parenting age. I don't have kids, but like if I did, I can definitely understand, right? So again, it goes back to, and this is a very interesting topic, by the way, but it goes back to like, talk to your kids, get involved with whatever it is that they're doing, because especially, again, I got to talk about the 90s. The 90s was so ridiculous. We had video games on the chopping block. We had legislators talking about banning the ability of people to walk into stores and buy certain kinds of games and stuff. It was nuts, okay? And so but it goes back to like, parents just didn't know what the whole deal was with video games. So we live in a different time now, because everybody kind of knows, especially people who are my age, because we grew up with it. But people who didn't grow up with games and don't really get it, like they're not going to understand why their kids are interested in the games that they're interested in. So yeah, just talk with your kids. That's the main thing, right? Just talk with your kids. Be a good parent. That's what it all comes back to. But as far as like whether or not it's okay, yeah, I think it's okay as long as your parents say it's okay. And I think with most parents they're pretty reasonable about that. But and as a 15-year-old, I was definitely playing violent video games and watching violent movies and all that sort of thing. So
yeah. I was too, and I'm a demented human being, so don't follow in my example.
I mean, Jacob and I are not exactly role models, right? But I don't think we're despicable.
No, we're not bad
demented,
people. I mean, I turned out fine. I did well in school. I have a fine job. I'm okay.
He's got a fine job.
Rated M games did not, twist my mind at all. Cyanide Happiness
maybe
did that.
Maybe a little bit. Cyanide Happiness for sure. Yeah.
No, I mean, I completely agree with you. It's all up to the parent. I'm not qualified to tell you if you can play them or not. But in my honest opinion, if you're in high school age, you're gonna see most of that stuff anyway. You're mature enough to understand a lot of things that happen in mature games, but there are definitely gonna be some that I'm like, yeah, you're not ready for that. I'm not gonna do that to you. I mean, I'm glad that I didn't play something like The Last of Us until I was older, and I could understand all the deep, intricate meanings of it. And that's kind of the same way with even something like Earthbound. I mean, Earthbound has a lot of deep, emotional, like very, very odd psychological mannerisms like are in that game.
Right.
And I'm glad that I've replayed it multiple times as I've been older to understand it. Because when I was a kid, it was more like, yeah, Earthbound. And I'm older and I'm like, oh, this game is terrifyingly real.
It's an adult game. It really is. It has a lot of complex. It's a game that makes a lot of statements about the reality of the world. And
that game is easily more mature than
that.
Like Battlefield 1.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah.
But that was a good topic. We might have to rediscuss that again with Nathaniel on the podcast. That was good. I could easily talk about that for an entire podcast probably.
Totally.
Well, we got time for one more quick question, then we'll probably go and wrap it up. Are there any gaming tropes or features that you hate in games? Like i.e. loading screens, escort missions, or rubber banding, etc.
And this question is from Dean.
Yeah, from Dean.
Dean
Dean the Bean, Mean Machine, Sonic references.
who likes loading screens, honestly?
I know.
Like,
I don't sit and enjoy loading screens.
yeah, I mean, of course, if we can get rid of loading screens, we definitely should. When Dungeon Siege came out, and that was one of the first dungeon crawler games that had zero loading. Actually, I think it was one of the, yeah, it was one of the first games of its type to get rid of loading screens, and it had like it streamed in the environment so that as you moved throughout the game world, it was loading stuff that was like kind of next to you.
Yeah.
That sort of thing was groundbreaking, and why a lot of games don't implement that kind of technology. Well, I kind of get it on the one hand. It's easier to build traditional games that you load up and then all you have to worry about is what's initially loaded. It is a little bit of extra work to build your game so that you can dynamically stream in environments and not have loading screens. Yeah. But that being said, to answer the question, tropes or features. You know what? One thing I do hate. It mentions escort missions and stuff. I really hate the thing you have in shooters where you have the NPC that you have to protect, and they're always such idiots.
Oh, yes.
That has always annoyed me, and it's in like I feel like there's always at least one of those levels in like every FPS. But
Actually, mine's kind of similar. I hate tutorial levels.
oh yes,
I
yes,
hate not even doing a tutorial specific and centric level. Doing a tutorial level that is integrated into the first part of the plot so I can't skip it is so annoying.
yeah.
Stop doing that. You
Yeah.
just let me pick up the controller. I want to play. I don't want you to try to seamlessly and snarkily and sneakily introduce that into the plot. Like I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. Just give me the
gaming
option.
industry has gone backward in that area, and designers and developers have just got to stop doing that because
Yeah, it's lazy.
horrifically terrible. Yeah,
It's lazy, and it honestly just makes you feel stupid. And then that mission's not fun.
right.
It's just not a fun mission. Like so many games do that shit too. And
By the way, Nintendo is
just stop it.
that like they are some of the worst offenders in that area in recent time, and Nintendo is probably extra terrible with it when they do it because they usually just do it through text prompts, and then you're just sitting there waiting for scrolling text to get off the screen.
Yeah,
And,
that's just so despicable. God.
Another design thing that really bugs me is when you have a whole bunch of stuff that's added just purely to make it look like the game has more depth or more content than it actually does. Like an example of this is in like the Diablo games. The whole way that like the loot system works. I mean, those are really great games in certain ways. Or like a lot of MMOs, they do that. EVE Online and World of Warcraft are probably really bad offenders about this. But like, or like in the case of strategy games, when you have tech trees, a lot of games with tech trees where you make upgrades and stuff throughout the game, if those are not truly meaningful to the balance and the design of the gameplay, they usually end up getting under my skin over time. And it's weird because in a lot of games you won't realize that that's a thing until you've been playing it for a number of hours, and then it'll slowly sink in that that's what the designers have done. And so like that's one reason why in the game I'm building, I'm getting rid of the tech tree. Like it in my opinion, it's just like it's artificial depth. It's not, you're not actually making the gameplay better by adding that stuff in. If it's like purely for like filler, if it's purely for like someone just memorizes a certain order to carry out those actions, or memorizes a list of items to pick up, like you're not making a better game that way. So
hey man, when it comes to filler content, the way I say it is, no man, the sky's the limit. I love my duplicated content and my and my re-rendered assets on like 50 different things. I mean, I love that. I love doing the same thing over and over again like it's actual gameplay. Get it, man? No Man's Sky. I'm so funny. And that was the Digicast.
That's another question we could do like an entire podcast on. Just talking about all the things we hate about certain game design
Yeah.
tendencies. Oh, and I hate
Yeah.
grinding. Like I think that's what I'm trying to get to. Like when you have that artificial filler stuff, it turns into grinding.
Yeah.
And some people like grinding, but I personally am just bored to tears when I have to grind. So
Some people also like cutting their wrists. I mean that
yeah,
too. Or
yeah.
they like eating more than they should.
Or
Or
or they like Papa John's. So
yeah. Yes, yeah. Yeah. You're a masochistic person if you like grinding and Papa John's. So you can do you, but I'm gonna do me. I really, really hope Nathaniel listens to this.
I really hope so too.
All right. Well, if you want to tell the people where you hail from, Scott, what do you do? What do you do? Tell the people.
Oh, I do all kinds of things, but primarily I'm here on the Digicast talking about things, pretending my opinion matters. And you can find me on Twitter at Scott Lee once again, and on the web at scottfreecapital.com. I'm also a developer, so I write code all day, both professionally and for fun, because maybe I'm the masochist.
Yeah.
But
Why don't you tell those people about how you're a Switch developer now? What?
well, I
What?
haven't. We don't know that for sure, but I am looking into that and the 3DS. We'll see. Actually, as of this moment, I'm leaning toward probably not 3DS,
I don't blame you.
but there's nothing official to say just yet. But yeah, I'm working on a game. It's a real time strategy game. It may or may not come to the Nintendo Switch. We'll find out. It's definitely going to come to the PC, probably Mac, Linux as well eventually. But that is quite a ways away. It's also currently on hold right now, but I'm going to be picking the project back up in March. Jacob, talk about you, by the way.
Oh my, thank you.
You have a new show that you're working on.
Oh yeah, I'm currently juggling like 4 Indie Jacob videos. Two of them are like official episodes. Two of them are commentaries because I am going to be doing more tightly cut commentaries again. So excited about that. I actually will be releasing one soon. So yeah, I should have a full-fledged Indie Jacob video out before Christmas because it is a Christmas episode, and then I should have a commentary out in a few days. So hype. 2017 will
Sounds
be a much
amazing.
more a much more, I don't even know how to say this, a much better year. So we'll have a better year here on YouTube. This year was very experimental. So yeah.
Yeah, to make sure we
Otherwise,
have a
yeah.
better year, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Please hit the
Oh
like
my.
button, please, as well, and leave a comment below the video if you're watching this on YouTube.
Yeah, tell
And
us how hot that segue was, by the way. I bet you've never heard as good of a segue on YouTube as that. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Hey, for the last 20 seconds, we should think of stuff that'll make Nathaniel really mad for this end card. I'm not sure what we could say, though.
Mario's dead.
Yeah,
Papa John's
Mario's
is dead also.
Papa John's totally sucks. It's definitely the worst pizza in the world. Pink Gold Peach.
Pink Gold
is
Peach.
what I'm going to be for
my
Halloween.
favorite character. Yes.
yeah.
Next year we're gonna be Pink Gold Peach.
That's right. We're all going to be
his
Pink Gold Peach,
girlfriend
actually.
is dead to me.
Oh my
And,
gosh! What?
And bye.
Okay, bye.